What if you were to listen to an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning illusionist, and he had something far more to say than, "Watch this trick"? Rick Thomas is that performer, ready to go far beyond his magic and far beyond your imagination as he shares secrets regarding our dreams. Dreams that can become reality. The future belongs to those who believe in the strength of their dreams. Dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. Join Rick and his co-host, award-winning broadcaster Tammy Trujillo, for Nothing Happens Until You Dream. Indulge your mind and take a journey never to be forgotten. A journey connecting all of our dreams as we chase them together.
I think, Rick, when somebody would look at the index of chapters in the book, The Tiger Whisker, I think one of the chapter titles that would get their interest right off the bat is Why I Mow My Own Lawn. Now, okay, first off, thinking of you, I think every time I just flash on you, I see you on stage. Okay, that's the first thing I think of when I just see a picture of you in my mind with the costumes and all the glam. And, I've seen you at home too, but I just don't see Rick Thomas out there with a lawnmower no matter how hard I try.
Really?
No, I don't. I mean, I know you're a normal guy. You know everything about magic and you're just normal beyond that, but no.
I'll tell you that
you have a gardener.
There was a point in my life where I was not mowing my own lawn.
Okay.
And I didn't mow it for an extended period of time when I was in Las Vegas. I kind of tease a little bit. There's not much lawn to mow in Las Vegas.
That's what I was just thinking.
You just mow a lot of dirt.
And rocks.
But it was my father, who brought it to my attention and why I mow my own lawn. And I'll get to it in a minute. But I think that the chapter is literally about what we learn from everyone in our life. And that is, whether we embrace it or reject it, we become what's around us.
Oh, yeah.
We become who we hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And our lives reflect our upbringing and what we learned from other people.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I look at individuals and go, I wonder how that person came to be and the decisions they've made and why they have chosen that, the certain things that they are in their life. So we really do, at least I find it important to really take the best of what I can from others. And if there's something that is not so good, toss it away and walk on. But I mow my lawn because of my father, and we'll get to it in a moment. So here we are in Las Vegas, whole bunch of dirt, but at my home, and everything is fake in Las Vegas. I mean, Vegas is still to me extremely intriguing place. People go to Las Vegas to go somewhere else. People go to Las Vegas to escape the world that they live in. They go to Las Vegas to go to Paris. They go to Las Vegas to go to the pyramids. They go to Las Vegas to go to Rome, Italy, whatever it may be.
New York, yeah.
But Vegas has been a place where they created a world of fantasy where you go somewhere else. I've always found that fascinating. When you try to explain what Vegas is, it doesn't have its own identity. It identifies with the world that we live in, and it's the place where fantasy becomes reality.
But if you think about the hotels being built right now, that's really scary, because the hotels being built right now, they're all about image. They're like over glam.
Yes.
It's almost like Facebook, where or social media of any kind, where all you see is the positive. Everybody puts up the pictures of them in their best moments for the most part. And you never, it's totally this fake, positive, glam out world.
I laugh because I've been in that world for years.
Oh, I know.
I think that's why people wonder why I've survived. I know when to take the top hat off and leave it on stage and become human again. There are individuals in our industry who they live in that fantasy world on and off stage. I say it best with those that imitate other performers, like the Elvises of the world, or
Yeah.
the impersonators.
Tribute
They live
bands.
somebody else's life their
Yep.
whole existence.
Tribute bands are a great example of that.
They aren't themselves.
I have one friend who has created a persona of somebody very famous and performs as him. And I will tell you that his offstage persona is now that same person.
Bingo.
His wife, I swear, believes she's married to the real guy. I mean, she has turned her mind into believing that, even though they don't have a mansion, they don't have all the trappings that this person has, but they live a pretend life 24/7.
There's a purpose to it, though. I know I'm watching people come up and wanted to take their photo or converse with them or talk to them by playing that role. It gives them purpose. It gives them that reason, that want, that, yes, that notoriety. That's why I laugh at it, because I'm like, how do you pretend you're somebody else and stand there and take a photo and smile and go, it just, to me, it's mind boggling, to play that part and not realize that all you're doing is living off of somebody else's coattails.
In this one person's particular case, he's a fantastic singer of his own. And it's such a shame that no one will ever hear him again. They hear the other guy. If you asked him, his excuse is he couldn't get any traction as himself.
So they do what needs to be for survival. And I understand that. So there is a world out there where there are those type of entertainers. And then you've got myself, who people, they do know who I am. They know I'm an illusionist. And I just, sometimes they look at me strange off stage because I'm not the same person that they watched perform. I'm a Gemini. And,
are you?
And a split personality, or a different type of person. And I think that's probably true, both being on and off stage.
That explains a lot, Rick. Thank you.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yes, I know so. I've known Geminis in my life. No, that does explain a lot, because your two personas are very different.
They are different. I enjoy my life off stage, and even more so now that I've had a career, now that there is some form of success, I can breathe. I can take a day off and not lose my mind that I'm not doing a show. I work extremely hard. I don't stop working. And, Tara, my wife, she continues to always say, that's what you are. Your success, your life is about your work. And it is, truthfully, but I've done better at finding time to enjoy life beyond the stage.
I think we all do that when we get a little bit older. During the first part of my career, I never took a vacation. I told them to buy out my vacations because I had to be on the air every day. I had to be. And that was kind of silly. I don't do that now. I think as we get a little older, we start to realize maybe what's more important, put a little more importance where it might belong. To me, I thought if I was not on every day, somebody would grab my spot.
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear of losing out, fear of missing out on whatever opportunity it is.
Had to protect my space. It was a lot of self-doubt. It was
Me too.
If somebody else came in for 2 days, they'd like them better.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't get my job back. There was a lot of that. Well, I think that goes along with what we both do too. So, and I think as you get a little older, you mature past those things. Thank goodness.
So let's walk away from the show and talk about why I mow my lawn.
Let me just say that with you never, even when in Vegas, the height of Vegas, when I knew you there, you were not the typical superstar. You were pretty dang down to earth. I will say that, just for the record.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's probably why I got beat up so much.
Oh.
Well, the industry can be extremely vicious.
No kidding.
I can tell you right now, but flat out, when I had a review of my show, a positive review, I'd spend a long time either getting an article written in a paper or a magazine or television, whatever it is. And I'd finally get a review that just like, oh, Rick Thomas is the top of his game, whatever it may be. And I'd meet other people in the industry who I will not name, but there's a plethora of them. I'd say, where'd you get that quote? They go, oh, we just made it up. We just made up this, or we just made up that, or we made up the magazine, or we made up the article, or and I'm like, what?
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, smoke and it's an industry where you fake it till you make it,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and tell
Keep
everybody you're the
faking.
greatest thing on earth until people start believing it. Either way,
Oh, so
so
sad.
there's ways of making yourself look like you are more than you are. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that being the case, my father, up until the day that he actually left this world, he scolded me for not doing my lawn. He'd come into, he's from Long Beach, California. He'd go
Yep.
into Las Vegas to see the show. And he'd watch the show and be proud of his son. And then we'd sit at home and watch people mow my lawn outside the windows of the
Mm-hmm.
house. And he said, you should be mowing your own lawn. That's your responsibility. And I'd say, Dad, why? Dad, why would I do so if I can make money doing what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
and then give somebody else the opportunity to make money by assisting me
Mm-hmm.
and taking care of my property and giving them the opportunity to make money as well? And we both win. And for some reason, to this day, I don't really totally know for that reason, but it bothered him. I just thought, hey, that is my opportunity to give back by
Uh-huh.
giving others the opportunity to make money as well. But upon my father's passing, I started to mow my lawn.
Hmm.
And I would not say that I began to mow my lawn to save money,
Right.
but I began to mow my lawn to remember my father.
Oh, how cool.
So this is the key to this chapter.
I like that.
Everyone in your life, in some way or form, repeat it again, either gives you something positive in your life to live by or something negative that you should reject and never forget.
Mm-hmm.
But my father, by saying you should mow your lawn, that's what you need to do, wasn't all about right or wrong or who's making money or this or that. I now mow my lawn now because when I mow my lawn, what do you think happens to me in my mind the moment that I walk outside and I pull out the lawnmower? What do I think of?
Oh, your dad.
I think of my father.
Your dad, growing up with your dad, who seems like just the more I learn about him, the more I like him.
And mowing the lawn for those few hours in that day gives me the opportunity to what? Reminisce.
Mm-hmm.
Think about my father.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what he did for me in my life. That's my moment in my life with my dad, even though he's not here, to remember him forever.
Gosh,
And
I love that.
that is why I mow my lawn.
I can think of no better reason. That's fantastic.
So really with the consideration isn't
Mhm.
always what I can do or not have to do in my life. It's how you remember people.
Mhm.
And so I'm just going to take a moment and share some they're not monumental things that I'm about to share, but I'm going to tell you how it makes my life better by remembering people who have passed on and something that someone has given to me, even if it's one or two little things. And I'm saying this because I want everybody, as we're chatting about this, to think about your life
Mhm.
and what somebody has taught you and what you're doing in your life. And when you do it, it reminds you of that person. I think more than anything, that's important for you to remember who you are, where you came from, and the people that have been in your life that make you who you are. And that is the key to this chapter. So I had an aunt who also passed on. And at one point, she taught me, believe it or not, how small it may be, taught me how to cup my hands when I put it under a water fountain or
Mhm.
in water so that the water doesn't seep through my fingers. So if I want to cup my hands and put water in my hands to take a little sip of water in my hands or hold water in my hands, she showed me how to lay my one hand over the other hand rather
Uh-huh.
than put the two hands side by side where your fingers have a whole bunch of holes and crevices in them.
Right.
She simply showed me how to lay one hand over the other and seal all of those porous locations in your hands shut and hold a cup of water in your hands and nothing seeps out. So is that a big deal in life? Is it monumental? No. But when I go to scoop up water in my hands, how do I do it?
That
I
way.
do it exactly how my aunt taught me. And when I do so, who do I remember?
Your aunt, of course.
My aunt.
Well,
Right.
Guess what?
Yeah.
You just taught me how because I never heard that. And so now I'll think of you.
Okay, so what you'll do
It
is
works.
you take your hands, instead of putting your hands side by side,
Yeah, I
edge to
tried
edge,
it. Yeah.
put one hand over the top of the other hand.
Right. That's perfect.
And then fill it with water, and it's perfect. Yeah.
See?
I don't want to say stupid because it's not stupid. It's a crazy little thing
Mhm.
that I just thought of to try to point out to people what people share with you in their life does not need to be monumental for
No.
it to be a big part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same point I had with the Tiger Whisker. Something that you do for somebody else could be something grand for another individual. So what you do in your life affects other people, what you say, how you say it, being kind to people, more so than not, because you don't know what they're going through is important. But for the most part, yes, she taught me how to hold on. Is there anything in your head right now that you can think of that somebody may have taught you or that you remember that was something along those lines that made it important in your life?
Oh, yeah. My grandma. My grandma was the most amazing woman in the world. She was really something. And she raised me a lot of my younger life up till when I was about 12, 13. So I was with my grandma. She lived in Downey. And she taught me to sew.
Mm-hmm.
Because she sewed all her own dresses. She was very old-fashioned. And she was a great seamstress. And she taught me to sew. But she taught the one thing that I always think about, because I don't sew very often anymore. I wish I did. But when you have to do a little button repair or something, she taught me how to thread a needle.
Mm-hmm.
She had a secret way of doing it. And rather than keep on poking the string through it and through and through and trying, her trick was taking and not worrying about the end of the string, but folding the string. Yes. So that you don't have a frayed piece, and then pushing the fold through the needle. And then there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier than trying to poke a frayed single strand. And so anytime I have to fix a button or the little household chores you do need to do with sewing, sometimes I think I'm your grandma, because I remember her just watching me try. And she said, come here, here's how you do it. And voila, there it was.
It's monumental.
Yeah.
Changed your life forever.
But the other thing that happens, and I bet this happens with you, is you think about them when you do that act, when you drink water from the sink the way your aunt taught you, or thread the needle like my grandma taught me. Mm-hmm. It just opens up the floodgates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm lucky I didn't start to tear up when I talked about my dad. It has become one of my greatest joys to mow my lawn. I cannot tell you, but that is a wonderful moment for me. And yes, before I start mowing the lawn, I'll say, oh man, I got to go mow the lawn.
Right.
But I get out there and I grab the handle of the lawnmower, and that moment it sings to me.
It becomes fun.
It screams from the heavens above.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm thinking of you, and thank you for what you have done in my life. Now I got to go mow my lawn.
I got to ask you this. Do you ever feel him there? Do you feel his presence sometimes?
Yes, I do.
I
feel him because it's not just saying, oh, I think of you, Dad. I think of Dad. I think of so many things he did for me in my life. And the list goes on and on and on and on. But it was the lawn that made me write this chapter, because it was the one thing where he'd just shake his head. And we'd be there at the house and he'd like, somebody's still mowing your lawn. You should be mowing your own lawn.
Of all the things.
And it was kind of a joke between the two of us. You should be mowing your lawn.
It was a joke, but not a joke.
No, it was not a joke.
It was a joke, but not a joke. I wish I could have met him. He sounds super.
He was an awesome man. Now, also, I was lucky enough to have a grandfather who was a butcher.
Really?
And that's what he did for his living. Mm-hmm. And he taught me how to cut turkey. So guess who cuts the turkey every Thanksgiving?
More than likely the guy who knows how.
The guy who knows how. And it was from my grandfather. And he took the time to share with me one Thanksgiving as a butcher, a man who truly knew how to carve. Mm-hmm. I studied and watched, and I remember him more than anything, my grandfather, on how to cut a turkey. So yes, for Thanksgiving, I'm stuck cutting the turkey, but it gives me that chance to, of course, reminisce. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the point that I want to make about the turkey. This is a skill set that I never anticipated other than Thanksgiving would be a huge part of my life.
Right.
But when I raised tigers for 20 years, the tigers ate chicken and turkey as their meat. Guess who knew how to cut turkey and chicken to feed all of his tigers?
You would be the guy.
I would be the guy. And yes, somebody else could have taught me, but how grateful I am to a grandfather who actually taught me and keep it in the family. And now, not knowing, amazing that my entire existence with my tigers was all about how my grandfather taught me how to prepare meat. It's fascinating.
That's
And it
crazy.
was something, it was really deeply appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it came around in my life at a time when I didn't even plan on it. The
Of
moment I
course not.
started feeding
No.
the tigers
Yeah.
was the moment I grabbed a knife and went, oh, I know how to do this.
Oh my gosh. See, I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. I think that was like some kind of a, just kind of a insight into your future. I think there was something building up in the universe. I think everything does happen for a reason, although at the time it may not be very clear, and it may not be very clear for another 20 years.
Well, that's what makes me me, and that's what makes you you, is the thousands
Mm-hmm.
of people that came before you.
Mm-hmm.
You are made up of thousands of people you don't know.
That's true.
A family that all together created you.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it all the time as what got you to where you are right now
Mm.
was a massive amount of humanity that came before you.
Yeah.
And you can't take your life and who you are and what you are lightly for that one fact alone.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that were here on this earth to get you here. And your responsibility and respect to them should be massive. And life is difficult, and we have challenges, and we make decisions in our life where we don't think we're worth anything, or
Oh, yeah.
we just want to end it all, or whatever it may be. And I don't want to be negative on that subject, but every person is special. Every person has a story to tell. Everyone has a life, and you need to listen to those stories, and you need to think about your stories and see all the people in your life that have done something for you to make who you are.
There are a lot if you really sit down and think. I'm one of those people that late at night when I can't sleep, because I don't sleep really great. It's crazy the things that'll come into your mind. And oftentimes it's really going back and reliving, events or conversations or something. And sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're not. But you have a lot of chapters in your history.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. That truly, again, is that podcast I want to do someday when I have the time to do it, and just talk to everyday people and get their stories. Because you're right, everybody's got a story. Sometimes they're amazing, and they come from the people that you would think don't have amazing stories, but boy, they do.
I laugh at this when you say that. I have this strong belief.
Uh-huh.
I really do. Now I think I'm pretty good at my magic and what I do.
Oh, just a little.
But there are a lot of people in this industry, in the entertainment industry, television, radio, music, whatever it may be, that the art form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Let me reverse the way it said. There are a lot more people out there that are far more talented than many of the people that are actually in the industry.
That's a fact.
That's what I'm trying to say. I look at sometimes and I say, everybody pursues what they want to pursue, but there are so many people out there that are absolutely amazing, who have their own life, who have amazing talents, who have so much to give to this world, and they're never given the opportunity to do so.
No. Oh, they're there, but the cards just didn't fall right.
Yeah.
The right place, the right time, the right person. It just wasn't to be. I know some entertainers who have worked so hard to become, to have that as their profession. Mm-hmm. They do it on the side here and there, weekends, whatever. And they should have a spotlight. They should be out there, but they just can't catch that break. And it's frustrating for them. And it's a shame because we don't get to see what they can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some people in our industry, you just got to shake your head. And it's like,
that's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot more talented people out there than what I just saw.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. It makes me crazy sometimes when I see some of these people making all this money or getting all these awards. I'm like, what? It's like, am I missing something here? No, you're not. There's nothing happening.
Well, I am indeed grateful to you for what you have taught me. You taught me, first of all, I didn't have a podcast before you waltzed back into my life. And I'm grateful for what I have learned within that industry, what you and I have accomplished as a podcast by receiving the Muse Award, not only the gold, but platinum.
Yep.
The highest award you can get in the Muse Awards for the industry and a podcast. So I'm extremely grateful. Even at a distance, we have a tie-in together with our past lives and both being in Long Beach, going to the same college and all those types of things that we didn't even know we existed out there. But somehow, again, there you go. It's fate. In some way or form, it happened, but it didn't happen without you. So,
well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you.
As I said, there are no coincidences, right? So in the middle of the pandemic, I found out, and I don't remember how I found it out, that you were going to do a live broadcast over the internet on my birthday. And I thought, well, during the pandemic, you couldn't go out for your birthday, right? I mean, you couldn't go anywhere. And I thought, you know what? This would be kind of fun. I hadn't seen you in forever and a day. And it was on my birthday. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to watch this program with you because you were going to show some video from Mansion of Dreams, which I've not seen. So Randy and I and a couple of my friends came out to my studio and we put that show up on the big screen. And we watched it. And I was chatting with Tara during it. And it just got me thinking about you again. And you mentioned the book. That's how this whole thing came to pass. Wow. So I don't believe in coincidences. You did that on my birthday. You know, had it been another night, I probably would have watched it too. But it was like, hey, this is a way to celebrate my birthday during the pandemic. I'll get to watch some really good magic from somebody that I know and have always thought a lot of. Then I started really thinking about, what else could we do? So again, no coincidences. You know, a friend of mine who's no longer on the planet, he said this phrase late in his life. He said, everything happens as it should. And I contemplate that.
So I should be in Branson right now.
Well, everything happens.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. You did. Actually, I am. I'm so thrilled with my life, but I still get to travel the world. I didn't mean to cut that away. I had to say, what?
Everything happens as it should, meaning that at the time, this is the right thing. Doesn't mean that it's a forever thing.
It is.
It was his way of saying, you can't change the projection. The projection's going to go the way it's going to go. It's kind of like giving it to the universe. And other things will come, and you can kind of nudge them a little bit. You can help them come, I guess, would be a better way to phrase it. But everything is almost like predestined.
Well, I also want to scream out to those that are listening to this podcast. Along with that, you are not to stop pursuing your projection.
Oh, no.
You need to, yes, you're going in a certain direction, but the entire point of all of this is to continue to follow your dreams, to give it everything you've got. And no, not all my dreams have come true the way I've wanted them to or thought they should have. But when I look back on what I have done, I have only accomplished because I pursued it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did not stop, because I went in that direction. And
Yes.
to some extent, some of what I have wanted in my life has come to fruition. So that is what you have to believe. When people get frustrated is believing that, well, my dreams didn't come true because it didn't come true as I thought it should have in my mind. But in reality, did something come true? Are you better than you were before? Are you further along in your career? Have you done things that you never did before? Have you taken steps to do things that you can't imagine that you accomplished, even whether they were a failure or a success? Does that matter? No, it's what you learn. It's who you become. And that today is truly what I have appreciated in all those people that have been my life, and why they've been a part of my life and who I am. And
I think that's really what my friend kind of meant, because he had an amazing career, but it wasn't the one he wanted. He did a TV show that changed the trajectory, not in the direction he wanted. So he had an amazing career, but it wasn't the career he set out to have. And I think later in life, that's where he came up with the everything happens as it should.
Because he found his joy. He found his peace.
He finally, toward the end of his life, made peace with that TV show that kind of turned his world upside down when he wasn't looking. But
man.
He still had a wonderful career and a wonderful life. And I've thought about it, and it does make sense. It really, really does.
Since we're talking about people who I remember something in my life, and it was one or two few things that they said or did, we just lost an illusionist in the world of magic. His name's Dirk Arthur, and he was well known for working with exotic animals, tigers, lions, leopards. And I remember that when I was pursuing getting into the industry of working with exotic animals, I actually went to Dirk. He was performing out in the Bahamas, and I was out performing on a cruise ship, and we happened to both be on the island he was performing on, and we had lunch. And, you know, it saddens me that we've lost one of the great illusionists once again in our industry. So I think I'm bringing this up because of our loss of Dirk recently, just this last month, that his words to me were, Rick, just remember, once you've obtained a tiger, you can't go back. This is a tiger for life. These animals, when you take them on, they become your responsibility. And you think you want to handle these animals. You think you want to be part of their lives. And he says, I'm just warning you that this will change your life. I remember the moment. I remember where we were sitting. I remember I should have listened to him and run the opposite direction.
Oh, no.
But no, I would not give up the 20 years of my life that I experienced working with these wonderful animals. But I do remember Dirk just saying those few words, think twice. So there you go. Those little things, they really add up to making decisions in your life. And for those few words that he shared, I was grateful. I can say that I listened to him, but I still made my choice. But that, along with everything else that in your life people have shared with you, may you take today as at least one day in your life and be grateful for the many people in your life and what they've taught you and what they've shared with you to make you who you are. Thank you for a wonderful day.
Oh,
Tammy.
it's been fun. It's always fun. I want to talk about something else before we go. That's really, really, really important. And that is future. That is the future. We all have to think about the future. And sometimes we don't want to, but we have to. And right now, they're kind of wild right now.
As they have been.
For a few years.
As we have been telling people
Yeah.
over and over again. I am extremely grateful for the knowledge that I have of life beyond my world of magic. And I've had people step into my life and share with me how to protect my family and do all that I can to diversify what I have in my life. It's pretty scary how we've got the banks that are falling apart.
Gosh.
We've got,
Yeah.
and I don't even want to talk about it or even discuss it because we can go on forever. There are plenty of people on podcasts and everywhere else talking about what's going on. I just say, well, it is going on, so do something. And that, in my case, is invest in something that's real, that's tangible, and embrace precious metals, gold and silver. And it's something I've done, and I look back on and go, wow, after looking back over a few years, I'm really glad that I took the opportunity to understand at least a little bit more of why that's important beside our 401ks and our bank accounts and our savings accounts, whatever they may be, that you look to the future and protect yourself just a bit better.
Now, this isn't a really complicated plan here. It's pretty easy, right?
Extremely.
Yeah. And you can teach people.
Yeah. If you don't hold it, you don't own it.
There's a good slogan.
There you go.
Well,
Done.
it's true. No, it's true. It's true. You might have it in the bank, but is
Yeah.
it still in the bank? I've always worried about that. You put your money in there and you almost feel like you walk away and cross your fingers. And
It
today
disappears.
it's true.
Well, it's the same with the stock market. It frustrated me. I couldn't understand. I just really couldn't wrap my head around how you can put money into the stock market, and everybody puts money into the stock market, and then all of a sudden that money that was put in the market disappears.
Right.
And I go, where did it go?
Yeah.
Okay, so stocks go down and stocks go up, but where did it go? How can the money disappear? Here's a point that I want to make, and this is my own personal opinion as far as the stock market. The money doesn't disappear, it just goes to somebody else. It depends on what side of the stock you're on. So there is money, and yes, it can be lost. And it's also made up a whole bunch of zeros and ones. The moment that it's put in the market, it's almost like it's on paper. It doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist until you pull the money back out again.
Right.
So once the money's put back in, it's not there. It's there on paper. They say it's there. But until you pull it out, whether it be a gain or a loss, it's not there. You don't have an asset. You don't have anything. It's only on paper. Like I said, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So at that point, you're giving up actually holding on to something of worth and putting it out there in this world and hoping to get money off of it. But if your money disappears, I can guarantee you that money found its way to somebody else's pocket somewhere else. That's how I wrap my head around the stock market. How can it just disappear? The hardest part also, too, is I really do believe to some extent the knowledge that you have is positive, but I still believe it's the luck of the draw. There are people that get in the market at the right time, and then people get in the market with the right idea, but at the wrong time. And you can say it's a timing issue, but if somebody really had the real answers to the stock market, then everybody would be winning in the stock market.
Well,
But we
it's a
don't.
gamble. It's
So-
kind of like a form of gambling in a weird
Hmm.
way.
Well, it is gambling. You have to realize that, in my opinion, if you put money in the market, you have to be willing to put money in that you are willing to lose.
Yeah, the same premise when you go to Vegas. Don't gamble unless you're willing to lose it, because you will.
But gold and silver and precious metals right now, people are hoarding it. It is being grabbed as fast as possibly can, and that's because people are starting to realize that it's a tangible asset that doesn't lose its worth.
So you're
there you go.
willing to talk to people who want to talk about it and tell them what you know. And really, Rick will call you on the phone. I'm not kidding. You actually do this, right?
I do.
You do. You pick up the phone and you dial a number. So if you'd like to talk to Rick about it, and you don't have to have a lot of money to do it, go to mansionofdreams.net/wealth. And there's a very small form to fill out, and Rick will call you and tell you all about it.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nothing Happens Until You Dream, starring Rick Thomas and featuring Tammy Trujillo, and is based on Rick Thomas's best-selling book, The Tiger Whisker, available on rickthomas.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out on Patreon for exclusive members-only content. Stay up to date with Rick and Tammy at nothinghappensUntilYouDream.com. Remember, you must follow your dreams, not only for yourself, but for the rest of our future. We'll see you on the next episode.